Hi, welcome to My Mom Thinks I'm Cool, a channel made by and for pop culture misfits who still love physical media. This episode I'm sharing some of the films that I watched during the month of August, and all of these films are ones that I really enjoyed watching and definitely would recommend, because here on My Mom Thinks I'm Cool, I like to share suggestions of things that you may want to check out. We only share the art that we love. So first up, we got this really fun DVD with two Arnold Schwarzenegger films on it. It has Total Recall and Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and my honey bunny found this used at the local library, so we got it for like $2, which is pretty good, $1 a movie. And we started with watching Total Recall, and I hadn't seen that film in a really long time, so it was kind of fun to revisit it. You know, classic Arnold Schwarzenegger action film, and it has a really imaginative world building, so it was fun to revisit that one. Next up, I finished off watching the Indicator Film Noir box set number 2, and I finished it off this month watching Tight Spot with Ginger Rogers, Edward G. Robertson, and Brian Keith. I really enjoyed this one, especially for Ginger Rogers' performance within the film. It was a very different role for her. She plays a woman who's in jail, who's got a bit of a salty personality, so she was really fun to watch. And she is brought out of jail because some investigators are hoping to convince her to testify against a mob boss. If you want to see if she does or doesn't, you're gonna have to check the film out, but I really enjoyed it, again, especially for Ginger Rogers' performance. And then finishing that whole box set off, we watched, my honey bunny and I, Murder by Contract, which stars Vince Edwards, who you may know if you've ever seen the classic doctor show Ben Casey. This was fantastic. I didn't know anything about it before I watched it. A lot of times I like to try to go into watching the ones that I don't know, the films I don't know, just, you know, without knowing too much, so I can really take in the film without any guesses of what's going to happen. And this was fantastic. And while I was watching it, I couldn't help but think, and I literally said to my honey bunny, this really seems like something that influenced Martin Scorsese. And lo and behold, it was a huge influence on Scorsese. This Indicator version even has a short clip of Scorsese talking about the film, and it was specifically a big influence on the film Taxi Driver. So if you like Scorsese, you're going to want to check this out. But overall, it's just a really fantastic gem of a film. So if you haven't seen it, definitely see if you can track it down to view it. Next up, we have Indicator's edition of the film Housekeeping, which is directed by Bill Forsyth. And I previously know Bill Forsyth from his film Gregory's Girl, which I really enjoyed because it was a great look at adolescence without ever overly dramatizing anything. And it just felt really natural and realistic, and it was like a really fun view. And Housekeeping definitely builds on those strengths of Bill Forsyth, although this one I would say leans more to being a drama comedy. The plot basically has to do with two young girls who, through some circumstances, end up having to be looked after by one of their aunts, who's a bit of an outsider and doesn't really fit into society, and looks at what happens to the sisters while they're being raised by this aunt. Again, Forsyth is just, he has such a gentle touch in the way that he directs. He never overly dramatizes anything, and that really helps bring you into the story. And this film is really wonderfully cast, and I think that is why it works so well, because especially the role of the aunt had to be played in a way that is truly believable, and you know, you're just like, yeah, I know that character. So again, I really recommend it if you haven't seen it, Housekeeping. Next, we have some Criterions that were purchased during the last Criterion 50% off sale, and we watched the Uninvited, which I had seen before but my honey bunny hadn't, and it's just a really great haunted house story. I really enjoy watching it, and my honey bunny really liked it. If you haven't seen it before, it's a good one to watch perhaps during October and Halloween season, but really it's good anytime. Also, it features a very cute dog, which is always a wonderful bonus in any film. After that, we watched the Criterion version of Picnic at Hanging Rock, which is a masterpiece of Australian cinema. It's considered to be one of the best, if not the best, Australian film made so far. The story has to do with some girls who go on a picnic at Hanging Rock, as the title suggests, and they disappear without a trace. It's a wonderful film, leaves you with a lot to discuss once it's over. I also like that supernatural overlay to the plot. You can definitely tell that the director, Sofia Coppola, was heavily influenced and inspired by the film, and maybe kind of picks up a lot from it with some of the films she's made. But yeah, Picnic at Hanging Rock, if you haven't seen it, definitely a wonderful film, and I'm really enjoying the Criterion edition. Next up, we have the Marlene Dietrich Joseph von Sternberg Criterion box set, and we've watched 3 movies from the set so far: Shanghai Express, Dishonored, and Morocco. Now, I've seen most of the films that were in the box set, but my honey bunny had never seen any Marlene Dietrich films, so it was an introduction to the actress and to the director, Joseph von Sternberg, and I'm just really enjoying them. I really like Marlene Dietrich. I like the presence she has on screen. I really enjoy the pacing of the films. They're not too long, but what I really love is the way that Joseph von Sternberg lights the actors within the film. He is just a master of light and shadow, and he creates just this glamorous looking world that you can't help but just get totally enraptured with. And this has also happened with my honey bunny, who again has never seen the director's films before or Marlene Dietrich, and he's just really enraptured with them and looking forward to watching the rest within the box set. Then after that, I have the Eureka 3-film set of Bela Lugosi films that are influenced by Edgar Allan Poe stories. And this set includes Murders in the Rue Morgue, The Black Cat, and The Raven. And so far, I've rewatched The Black Cat, which I'd seen a few years back, and I love it. I just think it's a really fun film. I love the set design in it. It also stars Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. I love the films that feature both of them, and it's a very dark film thematically, and again, yeah, I just really enjoyed watching it again, and I'm glad to have it on Blu-ray. Lovely print from Eureka, and looking forward to watching the other Bela Lugosi films. Also from Eureka, I got this 2-movie set, which has Warriors 2 and The Prodigal Son, some classic kung fu cinema to watch. So far, I've only watched The Prodigal Son, and I loved it. It had just such a great sense of humor to it. It was a fun romp of a film to watch, and the martial arts sequences are just masterful, so I definitely recommend The Prodigal Son, but I have not seen Warriors 2 yet. And then lastly, again from Eureka, I have the 3 movie set of Universal Terror Karloff, which has 3 films starring Boris Karloff that were made for Universal Studios. And the films included are Night Key, The Climax, and The Black Castle. And so far, I've only watched Night Key, and I'd never seen it before, but really enjoyed it. It stars Boris Karloff as an inventor who has been wronged, and he's sort of just trying to seek out justice, but he's a very sympathetic character, and yeah, it was really fun, really great. I look forward to watching the other 2, and I really love the Boris Karloff sets that Eureka has been putting out, so I was happy to get that one. So those were some of the films that I watched during the month of August. Again, all ones that I would recommend checking out. On top of that, I've also been revisiting my DVD set of Golden Girls Season 1 because I love the Golden Girls. So please share below what films you've watched, or if you've checked out any of these movies before and really enjoyed them. Thanks so much for tuning in to My Mom Thinks I'm Cool. Bye!